Alright, so now that the snow's melted, I made a decision here on what I'm going to do for the winterizing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep the gas in them, and I'm just going to run them every once in a while. Having my mower at the ready whenever I can is a good thing, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep the gas in there and just keep going. Alright, so you guys may remember just a couple days ago, in fact about 4 days ago, I went ahead and cleaned up all the leaves here on my front lawn. As you can see, here it is 4 days later. It's December 30th today, the day before New Year's. Happy New Year, everybody. But you can see the leaves are literally littering this right here. Alright, hey, what's up, guys? So I've been outside the majority of the day getting things cleaned up, and I have a topic I want to discuss with you guys. I don't think this is going to be too lengthy. I think it's going to be pretty quick. But either way, I want to talk about what you can do after you get your first snowstorm, right after all the snow melts from the first snowstorm, and what you can do to prepare for whenever the next snowstorm is probably on its way. Because up here in northwest Indiana, it can appear anytime, January, February. Either way, that's not what this video is about. Let's get into it. So we're going to talk about two different factors in today's video. We're going to talk about leaves on the lawn, why we need to get those off there, and then we're going to talk about the compacted spots that come from the previous snow that you had sitting in the areas. So leaves on the lawn, it's something we all think about. We don't think of it as a big deal, but trust me, it is a big deal. Thin layers of leaves aren't going to affect anything that bad, but it's the thick layers that look like they're about to take over your entire lawn. Those are the piles that need to get off there. Now let me explain why. You need to get them off of there because leaves can distribute the snow weight incorrectly and they can crush the crowns, like I've talked about in previous videos, that when you walk on the lawn in the winter, you can crush the crowns and it dies. Same thing with leaves. They just add additional weight to the snow and that can, just crush the crowns and make things die. In addition, when springtime comes, we're going to be getting a lot of rain, right? And if you still have leaves sitting there after the snow melts, what happens is it's going to rain, and the rain is not going to be able to get directly down into the soil where it's supposed to go because you have all the leaves as a barrier blocking the rain, causing this puddling action to form at the top. And that, my friends, is not healthy. We'll have to dive into that another time. So yeah, you gotta get them off. There's a few ways you can do it. You can just go ahead and rake them up into piles and rake them onto a tarp. That's pretty much my favorite way because it prolongs being outside this time of year. Or you can just go ahead and blow them into a tarp. You can put your bag on the mower and just bag them up. All good options. They all work well. So next we're going to talk about those compacted areas that may have came from previous snows you've had. So good news here, I'm not going to waste time talking here in the studio because I've actually had some stuff that I shot live on the field today that can probably explain it a little bit better. So I know there's a lot of inefficiencies that you guys can point out, like why rake it out and then mow it? Why not just mow it and then you're done? Well, let me point something out. So you can kind of see, right? As we get down here, the lawn is pretty long. It's about, I'd say, a good 2.5 inches tall. Can't be 3. I mean, but it is tall. And I didn't know it was this tall until I raked it up, because when I was in here, it was all laid over, right, like this. And you weren't able to tell whether it was long or short unless you really got down here and raked it up. So raking all the leaves gave me an excuse to also rake the entire area up to make sure that there's no compacted areas. So then what I can do is I can take the mower and lower the setting a little bit and then just chop all this off. So what this will do is it'll reduce the amount of layover that we'll have next spring once all the snow melts then. So what I was doing here is I was telling you guys why I decided I'd rather rake the entire parkway here rather than just mow it. Now, I know it was very inefficient to some of you guys. Why would I waste the extra time, and why would I even bother bagging the clippings if I just wasted some more time trying to get the leaves off there? Now, I think I explained it pretty clear in there that if I do it, it'll give me an excuse to walk the entire area because the entire thing was full of leaves, and rake the entire thing up to make sure that I didn't leave any areas flat or missed out, so that when I would go over the area, I wouldn't have to worry about going back again and raking any other areas and having to go back and mow those. So I can just get it done, boom, first try, and then I don't have to consume a lot more time later on. I was able to cut a little bit to right here, but I can't really mess with right here for right now because we still got the bulky wire that needs to be buried in the ground, so I don't know how much they're gonna destroy this, but either way, you can kind of see my point now, right? So I went ahead and cut this a little bit lower now. I actually cut it twice. You can see it's a lot lower. So the one thing that's going to happen here is when it snows now, because we don't have a lot of grass blades left on top, it's still going to lay over just a little bit, but not as bad as it would if you had like 3 or 4 inch heavy duty grass here, and that's going to prevent the chance of suffocation and thinness that we might have in the spring, which means that we have a lot bigger chance now to grow a thicker lawn here later in the year. So I hope you took something good from today's video, and I know it seems kind of crazy that I'm still out here in the middle of in late December still messing with my yard, and yeah, I mean, it's just, if I have the chance, I'll do it. I mean, as long as the ground is soft, you'll be all right. But as long as you can find a day which is in the 40s and 50s range, and you can get out there, and you have time to get out there and do stuff, just go out and do it. It's not going to hurt anything. Just, again, look for that weather window, and you should be fine. Alright, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you today. So real quick before I sign off, you guys do not have to do this, and that is if you don't care very much. But if you care about being more efficient next year, not having to do that much, not having to rehab your lawn too much to bring it back to normal, and you just want to, you know, reduce the stress you'll have next year, then I highly recommend you try out this method. It'll help you out. Just find nice days in between the snows where all the snow melts away, and just get out there, man. Go out there and do it. You will not regret the following year. So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in 2017. Alright, so I'm just about to wrap this up. I'm pretty tired. It's like 12:30 right now. But either way, I forgot to mention while I was in the middle of editing this that I actually do have footage of what your lawn can look like when you skip this step in spring. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not going to rake it. It's not going to make a difference. Well, it truly does. Check out this video clip right here. That when you get down here, we're not really having a lot of good restoration over here. As you can see when I get down here, you can literally see that when I dig in here, there's nothing but just tons of thatch slowing down the growth over here.